The best way to conserve our forests and protect our trees is to collect their seeds. What we do when we preserve seeds is we're protecting an entire ecosystem of animals, plants, and other living beings that depend on those trees. Indigenous peoples have known this for generations. That's why the National Tree Seed Centre is partnering with Indigenous communities and organizations across Canada. Together, we're not only saving trees, but we're preserving cultural heritage. Are you curious about seed collection? Do you wonder what a National Tree Seed Centre even does? Well, let's hear it from the people involved. This is the Indigenous Seed Collection Program.
The Indigenous Seed Collection Program is an Indigenous-led program hosted by the National Tree Seed Centre. Its purpose is to conserve species of spiritual, cultural, medicinal, and economic importance to Indigenous communities from across Turtle Island. We do this by offering a space for communities to send their seed for safe processing, testing, and storage. We also provide a space for networking to occur, either virtually or in person, at our seed collection workshops and knowledge sharing events. We can also connect collectors and growers regionally, and we also offer training to any community that reaches out. We can do this either on-site in the community, or we can invite folks here to our facilities at the Atlantic Forestry Centre in New Brunswick.
For training purposes, that are related to the Indigenous Seed Collection Program, what we really want to be doing is doing in-the-field training sessions in the regions that the actual communities are from. So again, we'd like to be visiting communities and giving a 1 to 2 day actual in-the-field training course on how do you know when it's time to collect seed, how much seed you should collect, where do you collect it from, how many plants in a different area. So those are all kind of the basics. And then once that seed is collected, what do you have to do to ensure that it's maintaining its seed health, we'll say, so that it can store long term. So that's sort of part one. Part two is that we're looking to host communities to come to our seed center. That follow-up training, it's actually, we have a session going on this week when we have community members from Blueberry River in BC, from Moberly Lake, and they work with Aski, so Saulteaux First Nation, Mi'kmaq in Newfoundland, and then we have community members from Acadia in Nova Scotia. So now they're here, and some of them actually brought seed from their community, and they're learning, okay, once seed enters our building, what happens to it, like the cleaning, the drying down, all the testing we do, and then into the storage. The other thing we try to do is show them a variety of different ways to clean and process that seed.
Hi, I'm Danae Cameron from Saulteaux First Nations, and I work for Aski Reclamation.
I'm JD Gaucher, and I also work for Aski Reclamation.
So I heard briefly about you guys, but I didn't know too much. I just knew that you were the National Tree Seed Centre, like that was in passing. But when I met Donnie, that was a whole other experience because I actually got to personally meet him and talk to him, and we took him out to the field, and then he was explaining more about you and like what you do, and then that just really interested me. And then he was talking about people bringing communities over here, and I was like, yep, I'm gonna come if I can. That's definitely what I want to do. So this is a whole new species that we're working with. We haven't done avens before, and I just happened to chance upon it when I was out scouting for other species. And once I found it, I wanted to know exactly what it was because I realized that it was ready to collect. So then I did my research on it, and I found out it was in the avens family, and then from there we realized that it's actually a really good reclamation plant. So then we collected it, but we had no real clue how to clean it. So we were trying our own methods, but everything was like really slow and like labor intensive. So it was like a long process. So we thought, the National Tree Seed Centre might have better ways to do this for us. So we came and asked you, and we did. We actually got a lot of information.
Yeah, I had a great time working in the dry lab and figuring out how to clean those mountain avens. That's kind of what I'm more keen on since this first year is being more hands-on. I'm not too sure about the scientific aspect of what I'm doing quite yet. Learning it. So coming in and cleaning those mountain avens, it was really rewarding to do that, to know that we haven't quite figured that out yet, and coming here and using the resources that you guys provided was super, super valuable information for us.
I'm Jacobin Moore. I also go by Dawn. I work for Acadia First Nations as an earth keeper. So we protect the lands and waters in a two-eye seeing aspect. But I'm band member of Speganackety First Nations.
And I'm Crystal Jeremy, and I'm an Acadia First Nation earth keeper with Acadia First Nation, but living in Wildcat.
I think a lot of people have the impression that a seed is a seed, and it's a seed alone, that there's nothing else in it. And I mean, when you take that scalpel and really dissect those seeds, it almost just comes to life. Like, you don't realize that there's a teeny tiny little baby in there, basically, and it's being protected by the shell and by whatever it's feeding on while it's in there. You just think you just pop them in the ground and they'll grow.
Yeah, and it doesn't work quite that way. It's a lot that
Yeah.
goes into it.
Yeah, I mean, like, we did germination. I thought it was the opposite end that went the other way forever. I never knew the difference. And then I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
The shell actually comes out? Like, yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, so.
So with the Indigenous Seed Collections Program, is there a way that you see us working together? A way that we can work together collaboratively?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. It's almost like that collaboration has already started. It's just a point of taking it on from here.
Yeah, and now that we are going to be more in our communities, it's going to be a lot easier to be able to keep a better eye on what's seeding.
I'm Gregory Jador. I'm from Mi'kmaq First Nations. I work with the Natural Resources as the manager. Also, I sit on Chief and Council as one of the councillors. My favorite takeaway from here is that you're not concentrating on one seed. You're concentrating on multiple seeds. And that's the vision. People say what seeds you prefer to grow. I prefer to grow all. They're all important. They all share an ecosystem. They make an ecosystem. So if you can go in one little area and have 10, 20 multiple species, that species makes up that ecosystem in order for other things to grow, like medicine plants, berries, fiddleheads, you name it. Everything plays a role. So we gotta have multiple species. If we only have one species, what's gonna happen? Once that one species is gone, we have nothing. So we need multiple species. And that's what I liked about it here. We're doing multiple species and to flourish. So I'm hoping when I leave here that we keep that connection and learning new ideas, how to collect the seeds, how to preserve them. And this Indigenous seed collection can grow in a network that we can share our stories and our success in Newfoundland to Nova Scotia, to New Brunswick, right across Canada, more or less, is having that network develop and how we can share information, have people come to see what we're doing compared to what they're doing. So that network always is hoping to build on that, and hopefully, that's my hope, is to have other First Nations to grab onto it and make it grow more and more and more, and the government can see that what we're doing is very viable, not only for conservation, for protection, but is also for identity. I think it will impact them in a good way if we bring the species back. If we're bringing the language back, the culture of the language in the school, through after-school programs, even when community members want to continue to learn the language. The same thing as we bring in the black ash coming back. So we're bringing back that Mi'kmaq name, the Indigenous name attached to that tree, and its history and why it's important. So there will be building the language back, the culture back, and it will show even stronger connections to the land where we actually come from.
If you think you might be planting a tree in the near future, you might want to check out the video on screen right now. Dendrologist Ken Farr gives us some options of what trees to plant in an urban setting. Make sure to do all the YouTube things, like and subscribe, and keep an eye out for our next video.